Hello Nakamas, welcome to this new One Piece review. Today I bring you my review, analysis, and theories regarding the events in chapter 1095 of the manga, a chapter filled with new information that left us surprised, excited, and even sad in many ways. This chapter brought several interesting things, and we'll delve into them one by one. So stick around until the end of this video to hear all the theories I have for you, which are quite numerous. The chapter begins with the call for all Marines to leave the island, leaving only the vice admirals behind due to the danger posed by Saturn. They discussed Saturn, a member of the Gorosei, whom they had only seen in portraits. Saturn is described as someone superior to the gods, a Tenryubito of the highest class. We then pick up from the last scene of the previous chapter, with Bonnie piercing Saturn with a katana. As expected, this did nothing to harm the Gorosei, who makes the blood disappear from his chest. He inflicts damage on Bonnie and attempts to crush Luffy, who is saved by Frankie. Saturn speaks with Frankie, stating that even though they are a united crew, he wants to see how they will attempt to escape the island, suggesting it will be impossible for them. He also mentions to Vegapunk that he has not yet decided how he will deal with him for his betrayal of the government. Sanji wonders why no one can move, and Vegapunk mentions that if it's not science, it must be the result of a devil fruit. This is where one of the saddest flashbacks in this story begins, one that has brought tears to my eyes. It starts with KUMA talking to Bonnie, expressing his desire to be a hero who can free people suffering in a world where they cannot be free. Someone like Nika. The scene of KUMA and Bonnie dancing is simply spectacular and reveals the importance Luffy will have for Bonnie from now on. Bonnie is clearly going to follow her father's dream, which was also her grandfather's dream. Nika will awaken in the upcoming chapters, and Bonnie will see Luffy as the savior her father spoke so much about. This also adds weight to the argument that Bonnie might become a new Straw Hat crew member. She has a dream and Nika is important to her, or at the very least it's clear that Bonnie will stay with Luffy longer than we initially thought. The flashback of Kuma's life begins with his birth 47 years ago. His parents tried to hide his bloodline, as Kuma belongs to an ancient race called the Buccaneer. The government discovered Kuma's birth, and both Kuma and his parents were turned into slaves. Kuma spent his early years as a slave, enduring atrocities at the hands of the Tenryubito. The heartbreaking scene is when Kuma and his father talk. His father tells him that his mother has passed away and has gone to heaven. He expresses his desire to die, but leaves Kuma with the hope that someday they will escape. Kuma's father dies in the most unjust way possible, purely because his noise bothered the Tenryubito. Now we jump back 38 years to God Valley, with events that seem to occur shortly before the God Valley incident. During this incident, Tenryubito and their slaves were present. It turns out that every 3 years the government chooses an unaffiliated country and holds a competition. They kill the natives of the island and declare it as their own afterward. We see a young Figureland Garling, who bears a striking resemblance to Shanks, with a different hairstyle. At the end, Kuma, who had tried to escape, encounters a young Ivankov and a peculiar young woman who might be Bonnie's mother in the future, judging by her eating habits. There are several points I'd like to discuss, such as why this island was called the Valley of God, and what the treasure here is. According to what the Tenryubito mentioned, it was a quite prosperous island with plenty of resources. I think we've seen enough to figure out the answer. I believe the treasure in God Valley was its devil fruits, fruits that were unusually powerful and weren't used by the kingdom, but rather kept as a great treasure. These fruits, if consumed, practically turned people into gods. This is why the island was called the Valley of God. Remember that it was here that Big Mom found Kaido's devil fruit and gave it to him as a gift. One interesting scene in this chapter is when Ivankov mentions, "I've heard the Buccaneer have giant's blood." This revelation connects directly with the gigantification experiments the government has been conducting for centuries. It might also explain why Kuma and his family were captured shortly after samples of their blood were leaked. Without a doubt, this chapter was very interesting and has provided much material for discussion. We'll continue to explore these topics in future videos. Unfortunately, we won't have a manga chapter next week, and we'll have to wait for 2 weeks for the story to continue. However, I believe the upcoming chapters will be spectacular. What did you think of this video, Nakamas, and this chapter? Please share all your theories and comments about this chapter in the comments section of this video. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. That helps me a lot to keep growing, and activate the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you whenever I upload a new video. Otherwise, you won't be notified when I release my new videos. Thank you very much for all the support, and without further ado, until next time.